We have great tools to help us communicate. May I borrow this for just a moment? I'm not going to go anywhere with it. So most everyone probably has some sort of mobile device. How long have we had mobile devices available to us? Yeah, 10 years, give or take. All right, so we lived without them, didn't we? We survived without them, didn't we? Yes. If there was an emergency, somebody found us, right? Yes. All right, so when I ask the next question, I don't want to hear any justifications. The question is, why is it that we keep them so close at hand? They're usually within an arm's reach. Why is it we keep them so close at hand? Habit?
There's a new thing called FOMO, fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out. We are afraid we're going to miss something. Heaven forbid you find out something before I do. We can't have that now, can we? Okay? So have you ever stopped to consider and be afraid of what you're missing in this present moment because you are so distracted by what you're missing over here, that you're missing something very valuable in this present moment? A few years ago, my mom was getting ready to celebrate her 80th birthday. My dad had passed away a few years earlier. We're originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Anybody from Pittsburgh? Okay. Originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She's the youngest of 12. At the time, she still had 2 remaining siblings, my Aunt Mary and my Uncle Joe. And every year after my dad passed away, I'd say to my mom, Mom, let's go to Pittsburgh. Let's go see Aunt Mary and Uncle Joe. And she'd come up with every excuse why she didn't want to go to Pittsburgh. We hadn't been there for years. Finally, a couple of months before her 80th birthday, I said, Mom, let's go to Pittsburgh for your 80th birthday. And I must have gotten her just at the right moment. And she said, okay. So I quickly bought airline tickets before she could change her mind. And because we hadn't been to Pittsburgh for such a long time, I decided I was going to plan a surprise party for her. Be like a little mini family reunion. We hadn't been there for years. So I worked with my Aunt Mary. We planned a surprise party. All of our family, old friends were coming. We got to Pittsburgh on a Friday night, stayed with Aunt Mary. The next morning, my mom thought the plan was, because this was a surprise party, my mom thought we were going to go see Uncle Joe on Saturday. We were going to leave at noon. So we got up and I said a little fib. I said, I'm going to go visit Cousin Julie. You ladies have fun this morning. I'll be back at noon. We'll go see Uncle Joe. Well, I was going out to get the food and decorate and the whole bit and get ready for the party. And of course, Aunt Mary knew that, but my mom didn't. So I came back at noon. I said, you ladies ready to go? Yep. Okay, so we got in the car and we're driving out. My Aunt Mary lives in a retirement community. And so they had a community center. So we're driving out, and she said, oh, Lee, pull in the community center here. I want to show you our community center where we have lots of functions. And, of course, there were tons of cars there. And my mom says, oh, we can't go in there. There's something going on. There's all kinds of people there. And Aunt Mary said, oh, don't worry about it. They're just cleaning or whatever. So we walk in, and everybody yelled, surprise. And my mom was so overwhelmed. My mom is not a crier, but she shed a couple of tears. It was just amazing. And I said, this is the best gift I ever could have hoped for my mom for her 80th birthday. We had a wonderful time. There was one person who was not able to attend the party, and that was my Uncle Joe. He was suffering from Alzheimer's, and his grown kids, my cousins, didn't think it would be a good idea for him to make the long drive. It was about an hour's drive, and be in a big social setting. So we knew he wasn't going to be there. So we had actually made plans on Sunday to go visit Uncle Joe. So on Sunday, we went to visit Uncle Joe. We didn't expect him to recognize us, and we were prepared for that. We pulled up to his house sat up on a big hill. We pulled up next to the house, looked up at the house, and on the front porch, there's Uncle Joe standing there, very fit and trim and tall. He was always a very physically fit man. He looked great. So that was our first impression. It was really, really nice. We went up to the porch. His kids were there, my cousins. And Uncle Joe always epitomized being a gentleman. And so he helped us up the steps. He helped us into the living room, helped us to our seats. We all got seated. We were talking with his kids. He was just taking it all in. We knew he didn't recognize us. He was just sitting there calmly taking it all in. We had some coffee and cake. After we finished our coffee and cake, we went back out onto the porch. It was a beautiful summer day, and they had a nice porch swing on the front porch. My Aunt Mary, my Uncle Joe, and my mom proceeded to reminisce about childhood memories. My Uncle Joe could remember his childhood like it was yesterday. And the three of them were laughing so hard, they had tears streaming down their faces. And I said, oh, this is the best gift I ever could have hoped for my mom's birthday. But there was one more gift. After they settled down a little bit, my Uncle Joe turned to my mom and said, so where do you live? And my mom said, I live in Maine. And my Uncle Joe said, small world. My little sister Annie lives in Maine. My mom said, Joe, it's me, it's Annie. And we know for a split second by the twinkle in his eye, the nod of his head, which was a mannerism he had his whole life, that he knew that was his little sister Annie. That was the best gift I ever could have hoped for my mom's 80th birthday. If I had been so distracted, worrying about what I was missing on my mobile device over here, I would have missed that very precious moment, never to have that again. My Uncle Joe passed away 10 months later. That was my mom's last interaction with her older brother. Don't be afraid of what you're going to miss on that mobile device. Be afraid of what you're going to miss in this present moment. This is where we make the memories. This is where we make the difference in people's lives and the lives, our own life. I am so thankful for that memory. And so is my mom, and so is my Aunt Mary. It was priceless. Don't worry about what you're going to miss over here. The headline, the text, the Facebook message, whatever it happens to be, it will be here. This is gone in a fleeting moment. Remember that, especially those who have kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews. We all have kids in our lives. They grow up so quickly.